Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some new products from Hero Arts, including their January My Monthly Hero kit. I am using the classic kit today. The premium one is also great, but then in addition to that, I'm going to be using some of the add-ons. I showed you this little Lovebirds and Friends, but I didn't end up using it because I couldn't bear to cover up the heart. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But then I also use my Heart Infinity dies as well. If you are not familiar with Hero Arts kits, the classic kit is $36.99. You get tons of stuff. And then the premium kit has even more items for $49.99. It is a subscription, but you can cancel anytime. So let's talk about what we're doing here. I really wanted to do a rainbow ink blend. So here are the rainbow colors I've picked. I've got my Hero Arts brushes, and I'm going to lay down my stencil. Now you might have seen before that in two of the corners, I put a little black dot, and that is because Hero Arts, when you line up their stencils, they have these little like square cutouts on all the corners. So if I always line up my corners, and I did opposites to make sure that I was in the same spot. But if I always line them up with those little dots on my sticky mat, then I know that they're always going to be in the right place. And then if I choose to clean off my sticky mat, it will just come up with a little bit of stamp cleaner or a smidge of rubbing alcohol because I used a Copic marker. So I really wanted to do like a rainbow of ink blending. And I'm gonna be real honest. The first time I tried it, it was too much. It was too much mixing is what happened, and it was getting very muddy and very brown, and it was yicky. So I decided that I was going to use my same rainbow of colors, but this time I was just going to layer them in the same spot, so I wouldn't be layering colors that didn't go together, because as I laid down my ink blending, like you can see, with purple, I put it next to pink and blue. Those both mix really nicely. With my pink, I tried to put it down next to yellow or orange. Those mix very nicely, so on and so forth. But basically, I just did the same colors over and over again, which kind of created this rainbow kind of like prism where all of the colors were the same, and I really liked it. You can see the prism effect the most on the open heart stencil it's the heart burst stencil, I think is what it's called, but the open heart section, and we'll do that after. This one is part of the kit, and it just layers a bunch of florals, which are really beautiful. And it pretty much fills up your whole background. I mean, there's just a few little pieces in between that stay white or whatever color you start on. But I was really impressed with how much coverage this gave. Now, it did kind of create a little bit of an issue for me, and how I fixed it basically decided the trajectory for the entire basis of all the cards, because you know how I like to be matchy. Before we get too much further into it, I do want to mention that Hero Arts always very generously does a blog hop with their releases, and there is a chance to win a $50 gift card. So I will link the blog at the end of the video, so that you can head over there and just hop along and leave a comment, leave some love. And if you're a person who's a subscriber to the Hero Arts kits, you will get tons and tons of inspiration, because they have a brand new team, and they are hitting it hard, and they are absolutely killing it. They have a guest designer. They always have guest designers. I'm a guest designer. But Nicole Spohr, she needs no introduction. She's very talented. But her cards with this release are like something I never would have thought of, and they are fantastic. So if you have not seen her cards, her projects, I would highly recommend checking them out, along with everybody else's. They're super talented. So anywho, there's 5 stencils in this kit that you get, and they all create this floral piece, which is really pretty. And then you get a love and a U die. You get some ink cubes. Now, they give you the azalea and the summer sky, which I am using. I swapped out the moss for fresh lawn, and then obviously added some more. You also get a sentiment set and a like a fancy die, a fancy heart die, and some, I think, colored watercolor paper. That's the classic kit. If you choose to get the premium, then you get extra dies, some gold foil, a spray, and the sparkle lacquer. I'm already a big fan of the sparkle lacquer. You guys have seen me use it in the past. Today, though, I'm going to be using glitter paste. So much glitter, you guys. I know it's not for everybody, and that's fine. You could totally skip that step, but I just feel like it adds it's just so pretty and glittery, and like it adds texture to the card, and it picks up the color that is behind it, and I just love it so much. I'm just a big fan. But anyway, so I have done, this is how I fixed my problem. So basically I layered colors on top of colors on top of colors. You can see that. That's what we're spending all of our time doing here. But what happened was it created a very, for lack of a better term, a very mushy look. I had no contrast, even though I was using like a veritable cornucopia of colors, if you will, because they were rainbow colors and I picked colors that would all kind of along the same tone. There wasn't much contrast, which was creating, I know not like, they're very pretty. It is very pretty. You could put the glitter paste on it and have a beautiful card. But I like contrast in my cards. And so I needed to do something that was going to create some contrast. That's just me. Now, there were plenty of other cards. I can't remember who made them. I'm sorry. But like the Heartburst stencil, they did like a rainbow, and then they used there's a background stamp in this release that's very vintagey and has a lot of text in it. And it's like scripty, and they used that and stamped over their stenciling, and it was beautiful. And they did it on white, and it looks great. I think it's just because I use the full floral background, and the whole thing just felt very kind of one note, even though I used a bunch of colors. So rather than just give up on the piece that I had spent so much time creating, right? And like we're in it now. We're on the last stencil, which is the detail stencil. Rather than just give up and walk away, I decided that I was going to find a way to create my own contrast. This is the final piece that you can see here. And you'll see what I'm talking about. There isn't a lot of contrast. There isn't a lot of dimension. It's a very pretty background. And if I was doing something else on top of it to be my focal point, I think it would probably be fine. But I wanted my background to be my focal point. So I had to make a decision. Here, this is the Heartburst stencil die. I love this thing. I think this is going to be such a great staple to have because you can do so much with it. You don't even have to, let's say it's not for Valentine's Day and you want to do something else, but you want the rays. Like you could put a circle die over that. You could put a large sentiment over it and not even see the heart. But anyway, I digress. So I'm basically just doing the same thing. So if I'm putting down purple, I'm putting pink or blue on either side of it. And I am mirroring the colors that I'm putting down. So if I am putting down the purple, I'm putting the pink above it and the pink below it. On each side is what I'm saying. If I'm putting blue, I'm putting the blue above it and the blue below it. And this is going to create an array of color kind of clockwise as we work our way. Well, I'm working counterclockwise, I guess. But anyway, well, not when I do the top. Disregard what I'm saying. I'm just saying you want them to be opposites each other in order to create this specific look and keep your rainbow throughout. Now, if you don't want to have two, like you don't want it to look like a prism, you could just do, one color in each section and move your way around the rainbow, and that would be great. But I was looking for that prism feel. Now, are you looking at my center heart? Because all of the colors are touching the center heart, and that is so giving us prism vibes. I love that center heart so much. So much. I tried to recreate it when I did my die cut for the love just kind of like a spectrum across. And like, I know not everybody loves rainbows, and that's fine, but I do. Now for this one, because the first one, like I did layer upon layer upon layer. So I didn't have to worry about what my ink blending looked like because I was just adding more color over top of it. For this one, I did do each of the colors twice because it's just one stencil. There's not going to be multiple layers of stencils. It's just this one little guy. And so I did go back in and do it twice. For the record, all of the supplies are always linked in the description, but I didn't say. I used azalea, papaya, butterbar, fresh lawn, what's the teal one? Paradise, summer sky, and orchid. Those are the rainbow colors I used in the Hero Arts ink pads. You obviously could use whatever colors of ink that you have to create your rainbow. That's just what I used. So here you can see it's really pretty on white. We've got that kind of prism spectrum look going on in the middle. Love, love, love it. Here's both of our cards. Not a lot of contrast. Here's how I'm going to fix that. And again, it's going to create some contrast and some drama, which is exactly what I'm going for. This card, part of the reason why it was very mushy is there's no separation. So normally when you would do flowers, your flowers would be one color, your leaves would be another color. That creates your contrast. Because I did not use it that way, what I ended up doing was putting down, I just did 2 of the stencils. I didn't do all 5. Just did 2 of the stencils. And what I did was I went in with a black fine liner and I started outlining the openings. This can be a little bit tricky. I would just recommend that you take your time, go slow, and keep the pressure up against the wall of your stencil so that way you don't accidentally slip into, the actual flower. So I'm going to do this with 2 of the stencils, and the 2 stencils I chose to do it with were the first one, which gives me the biggest flowers, and the third one, which is kind of those smaller flowers in the background. I didn't do the leaves. I didn't do any of the detail layers because I don't need all of that. I just need enough to create some separation between my florals and the leaves and my florals and the background. So this is kind of, you could do, and I've done a very similar card where I did black stamping. You could do a black stamped, like just a stamp that has layering stenciled and get a very similar look. I have done that. And then I'm going to go in, you can see there's really very minimal in this on the inside that is white, but I'm going to color all of the white black, including the edges. And then any areas where my stencil didn't exactly meet up and I have some like gapping in between the 2 fine lines that I put down, I'm going to fill that in black as well. So just so that everything is cohesive. This actually really didn't take that long. This one took much longer. So here this one does not have a die, but in the infinity hearts, there's one that matches up almost perfectly. And so that is the one I'm using to die cut out my center. I'm still going to use that heart. I'm just going to pop it up. So I cut that out. Here you can see how I just love that heart so much. But anyway, and then I'm going to remove this. And here, I have no idea what's happening downstairs, but the dogs are mad about it. Please disregard. So anyway, now you could use this. You could die cut out your heart and then use this to create like a little shaker heart card. It gives you more options. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my stencil back into place. And I'm going to go in with my fine liner. And I'm going to outline all of my little stripes, all of my little rays here. This one took the most time because I wanted it to be straight lines. So it was more meticulous. Would I do this again? Probably, because I really liked the look of it, but just know you're in for the haul. At the bottom there, I did have my pen slip one time, and this is how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go in with a ruler. I'm going to go to the outermost edge of where it slipped, and I'm going to create a new straight line. If you don't want to go through and follow your stencil, that is another option you have for this one because it is all straight lines. Just go in with a ruler and a fine liner and just outline them all around. after they were outlined, which does give me a little bit of a safety blanket, gives me a little bit of a buffer. I went in with a black Copic marker and then I just filled them in, including the edge. I also colored in the edge of the heart that we die cut out because they are going to fit back in together. So you can see those bright colors are kind of popping off much more so than they did with the white. Here's where we're at now. We're very dramatic, which I love. I'm here for it. And I'm going to use that fancy die from the kit to cut out a heart of my background, which is then going to give me 2 cards. So here I was trying to look and see, like, did it match up some way? I didn't find any way that it did match up, but that doesn't mean it doesn't. I very well could have had it upside down. Who knows? But it didn't matter for what I wanted to do for my card. It was just me, just taking out a heart of it so I could make my 3 cards. So here's what we've got going on. I have the pieces that I've die cut out. I'm going to tape them back in. Just on the back, I'm just using some washi tape. This is actually from an older Hero Arts kit that I have sitting on my desk. And I'm just going to tape them back into place so that way I only have to do the glitter paste once, that I can just do it right over top of everything. And then I will immediately separate them so that they don't dry together since I'm going to use them separately. I did the floral one first, and full transparency, you have to wash this off immediately. It's like glue. It will, in fact, adhere to your stencil. So I put down my glitter paste, and then I actually had, before I even started, I ran some water in the sink and just pulled the plug up. So that way in between these, I could like run down the hallway, throw my stencil into the sink so that it was sitting in water and I would have time to clean it off before it dried. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing. I chose to do the very last stencil for this. This is the 5th layer, which is a detail layer. And I was really happy with the way that it came out. But like I said, you got to wash it quick. And I had to separate them pretty quickly. So I'm peeling off my tape that's holding my stencil, and then I will lift up the stencil. You can see all that beautiful glitter that we've left behind. And then there is just like a little tab of tape on the side, and I'm going to use that to lift out my die cut, and then I will set both pieces aside to dry. For my heart, I did it so that it was a little off center. It was like a little cattywampus, so that some of the color has glitter, some of the black has glitter. This one is very, very glittery. You obviously don't have to do it the way that I did. You don't need to do every single stripe. You could just do a stripe here or a stripe there. I would recommend blocking off any stripes you don't want with some low tack tape, but I just went for it. Am I mad about it? Nope, not at all. This card is so glittery. It's so textured. I just really think that it's super, super beautiful. Did this undo all of the black that I put down? Kind of. Not so much so that it didn't still have the contrast, because it obviously does, but a lot of my glitter paste is covering up that black, and it's okay. So then again, once I, take the tape off and remove the stencil, I'm going to separate them so that I don't have any issues with them adhering. The glitter paste on the heart is a little cattywampus because that's how I put down my stencil, but not so much so that it bothered me. Here, I told you I tried to recreate that kind of spectrum look of the rainbow, and this is what I'm going to cut my love die out of. Now, I knew it was going to be black behind it. That's why I chose to do the colors. I also cut out using the smallest heart in the Infinity Stacker set. I cut out some of those from the ink blending, and then I chose to do the U in black because the U is going to sit on top of all of the florals that we have. So here's that little teeny tiny heart, and I ended up cutting 5 of them out. I could not find the 5th one when I went to adhere it, and I literally said to myself, you will find it as soon as you are done, and I did, indeed. For the sentiments, I chose to use the sentiments that come in the kit, and this one says, love you lots. I am going to cut this so that will make 2 sentiments for me. And then the other one I chose is from the I Love You Extra Large Stampin' Cut. And it says, is all you need. Obviously, the heart would represent love. And I thought that that was adorable, and it didn't cover up my heart too much. Because remember, I didn't want to cover up my heart. I'm going to have to use those little bunnies and birds and stuff for another card, because they're totally adorable. But I could not bear to cover it up. I stamped this in white unicorn pigment ink, and then heat set it in white detail embossing powder. And then I did trim these out. The Is All You Need, I used my paper trimmer for, because it's just, a label shape. But for the Love You Lots, I did end up trimming that by hand because I wanted to separate them. Because I have one card that is the black U, and so for that I needed the word love, so I would say love you. And for the other one, I have the word love, and then I chose to do you lots, so it says love you lots, and that is in the white embossing ink. So now here we're moving on to just coloring to building everything together. Almost all of these have some sort of layering, except for the one that has the love. No, I layered that one too. Disregard. So basically, I just cut a bunch more out of white cardstock for this one, which is going on a black base. I didn't care if you could see the white. I thought it would help with the contrast. But this is our little heart, and I'm just going to... So I stacked that up, I think, with 3. Is that what we just did? We just watched it together, and I still don't know. So I stacked that up with, I think it's 3. Put the U down flat, and then I popped up the love on top of that. Really cute, easy, simple. And plus, I always love a 2-for-1. I'm a big fan of a 2-for-1. It just, I like stretching my supplies. So, anywho, that's pretty much that one. We are going to add some little gemstones to it. And this does have the glitter paste. So it's nice and simple, but it still has some extra things. So yeah, I'm contemplating my next video, because I know we're in January, and we're getting ready to head into Valentine's Day. I had a follower reach out to me, super lovely lady. We chat on Instagram all the time, and she was having some trouble. She's making her grandson's Valentine's for his class, and she's like, I'm just super overwhelmed. I can't come up with any ideas, whatever. So she sent me kind of what she had, and that got me rolling into, because I don't want to send her, like, I want it to be organic. You know what I'm saying? So it got me rolling into some other cards that I've made in the past, which actually really helped me out. So thank you. It gave me some inspiration for some cards that I could make for Valentine's Day. So you can thank Brandy for the next couple of upcoming videos, because I think that I have some cute ideas that will help you guys if you're making multiples. And because that's how I always did it. Like when I made Peanuts Valentine's for his kindergarten class, I always looked for a recipe for a card that I could make multiples for. So this one, the background went down flat, the heart got stacked. I did, because it is black on black, I didn't want to be able to see any of that white, so I'm sure you guys saw I just outlined the outside edge with my black Copic marker. And then because I want my sentiment to sit over my heart, I had to get some foam tape, and it's interesting because the foam tape was just a smidge higher than the rest, so I actually ended up going and using another foam piece that was thinner so that it would fit right over the heart, and I put that down kind of in the lower bottom. And I didn't add any rhinestones or anything to this because, girl, you already shining like a diamond. You don't need no help from me. This is the last one, and honestly probably my favorite card, just because I love the love. I love the love. And so this one I mounted on black, and this is obviously the bulk majority of the card that we used. And then we're going to allow the love to fill up the vast majority of that middle heart. And this one, again, was stacked. It was stacked with 3 layers, and then I'll add the U-lots with foam, and then I'll use the hearts and some gemstones to kind of fill in the rest of that space so it doesn't look empty. So yeah, Brandy, thank you very much for helping me get some inspiration for my own videos, which is always great. Now, last year, my Valentines were shunned by my child. He did not want my Valentines. He wanted store-bought Valentines because what was it that he wanted? I think he went with Sour Patch Kids. What have we done? We've done we did glow sticks twice. He really liked that one. And then we did pencils the one year. So I kind of let him pick his own things of what he wants to do. We had leftovers of pencils for 100 years, little heart guitar pencils. But so I don't know what he's going to want to do this year. I'm going to have to ask him because this is pretty much our last year for it. It's our last year of elementary school. So until I get Jelly Bean in school, I will be out of the Valentine game, outside of obviously giving to my own kids and my husband, and probably my goddaughter. But anywho, so yeah, we'll have to see what he wants to do this year. But I'm excited because they come out with everybody comes out with so many cute images for Valentine's Day, and they are adorable. So these are the cards that we have made. So we have these kind of 2-for-1s here, and then the additional add-on. And I love them all. I think they're super fun. And even though they're black and rainbow, which you might not think for Valentine's Day, I adore them. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time. Don't forget to head over and leave a comment for your chance to win that gift card. And I will catch you on the next video. Bye.